Hey guys, it's Chef Austin here with Everything Kitchens. Today we blended a little bit of everything you might want to blend in your next blender. We compared the Vitamix versus the Ninja to see how they blend before you buy. Oil is notoriously difficult to incorporate with other ingredients. So that's why we are testing out hummus. We're getting some fresh chickpeas, some olive oil, and we got some caramelized onions going in here. We're gonna see how well they do in each of our blenders. When we blended all of our ingredients for our hummus and our Vitamix, it made a beautiful vortex of chickpeas. The finished result was airy, creamy, and there's no signs of unblended ingredients. We got our hummus out and we did our smear test and it smeared nicely like a thick mayonnaise. The Ninja, on the other hand, had some different results. We put the same ingredients in, blended it up, and it came out completely different. The oil did not emulsify into the hummus, and it made the entire batch pretty runny, more like a smoothie than a thick hummus. The vortex created by the Vitamix achieves a full emulsification of the water and oil. When the oil molecules are small enough to surround a water molecule, that's where emulsification happens. The Ninja's tower of blades just was not efficient enough compared to Vitamix's vortex blade design, which pulls food back into the blades to emulsify everything. Both of these blenders have a very different blade design. The Ninja has its signature tower of really sharp blades. Vitamix has a very blunt blade just at the bottom. We're gonna see how well each of them did making powdered sugar. We added some whole sugar crystals into our Vitamix and blended it for just 30 seconds, and it created a wonderful powdered sugar. It was nice and snowy, powdery. There were no sugar grains to be seen in this one. The Ninja, on the other hand, didn't do such a good job at powdered sugar. When you looked into the blender jar, you really didn't see powdered sugar. It was more just like a grainy, sugary mess. As you can see, there are some bits of powdered sugar in here, but it's mostly still full sugar crystals with the Ninja. Vitamix's blunt blade design helped make the best powdered sugar. Whenever the sugar crystals hit that blunt blade, it crushes apart. Versus on the Ninja, you are slicing. It's slicing those sugar crystals, which is not very effective when you're trying to mill down to a very fine powder. That's what's gonna make Vitamix great for milling your own grain to make your own flours. Ninja's just not gonna do that for you. Both the Vitamix and the Ninja have a 1500 watt motor. That is intense. That's around 2 horsepower peak performance here. So we're going to test the hot soup functionality of our Vitamix and see if our equal power motor on our Ninja can do the same. Our Vitamix actually has a hot soup function, so we tested our cheddar broccoli soup with this preset to see how well it did. After about 5 minutes, we had a steaming hot soup, no stove required. The soup blended into a perfect puree of cheddar broccoli goodness. We tested the same recipe in our Ninja blender and got some different results. Since our Ninja did not have a hot soup preset, we blended the soup on high speed for 5 minutes and 45 seconds, just like our Vitamix. After that time, we still did not have hot soup. It registered about 80 degrees, which is just above room temperature. We even gave it a little more time and it still could not make hot soup. The soup consistency was still not as fine as the Vitamix's, even after blending over 6 minutes. The Vitamix made hot soup right in the jar, no stove required. That's because of its awesome blade design. Those blunt blades create so much friction in the jar that over prolonged blending cycles, it can create hot soup. The thin slicing blades of the Ninja simply do not create enough friction to heat up soup like the Vitamix can. Our Vitamix claims it can make ice cream. Ninja also claims it can. We're gonna see what happens. Ice cream's one of our favorite things at Everything Kitchen. So we loaded up our nice blender jar with some ice cream ingredients. We had some ice, cocoa powder, sugar, heavy cream. We set our Vitamix to its preset frozen treats. In about 55 seconds, with the use of our camper, we did have some delicious ice cream. It was very small ice crystals, which is what you want in an ice cream. Nice and creamy, didn't melt very fast. It did an overall great job. We did the same ice cream recipe in the Ninja. Since the Ninja does not have an ice cream setting, we put it on high as the manufacturer suggested for 55 seconds. What we got was more of a chocolate shake, almost. So it did not make ice cream. The ice crystals did not break down. There were still huge chunks. Even if you were to consider this more of a milkshake, it was not a very good one. There were too many large ice crystals, which made it undrinkable. Vitamix is the clear winner here because it had the ability to crush the ice so fine. Those ice crystals got small enough to freeze everything surrounding it, which made a creamy ice cream. To give Ninja the benefit of the doubt, we did try to make ice cream in another one of its jars. We checked out Ninja's official website and it said the food processor bowl is recommended for making ice cream. So we gave it a try, but unfortunately got the same result of a soupy, chocolatey mess. Vitamix and Ninja both claim that they can make bread dough. To test this, we used a recipe that kneaded the dough right in the jar and not by hand. The Vitamix did a great job at kneading the bread dough. We used the pulse functionality of the blender to knead the dough. The recipe did call for scraping the sides of the bread dough to get back down into the blade, which wasn't too hard. Ninja recommends making doughs in its smaller food processor jar. So this is the jar we used for this test. Again, we utilized the pulse function to knead the dough and scrape down the sides. We let the dough rest for about 10 minutes and we performed a stretch test. You can see that the Vitamix's dough is nice and springy and has a nice stretch to it. Great gluten development. As for the Ninja's dough, it started to stretch but then would break. It did not form nearly as much gluten. Proper gluten development should give us a nice fluffy white bread. We went ahead and baked off our breads from both of our blenders. As you can see in Vitamix's bread, the bread rose properly, almost doubling in size, and had a nice even air pocket distribution throughout the slice. As for the Ninja, the bread didn't rise nearly as much. It had an uneven texture throughout it and is a bit chewy. To introduce the winner, I was going to tell you a crummy joke about bread, but I'm just going to say it was Vitamix. Chances are, if you're getting a blender, you're going to want to make a smoothie. We're really going to test the Vitamix and the Ninja's blending capabilities by making a hearty green smoothie. What you're not looking for in a smoothie is full chunks of fruits and vegetables left over, strings, or like a really gritty texture. We're going to get real close up to see how fine each of these blenders did the job. Our Vitamix had a dedicated smoothie button, so we went ahead and used that. You can see here close up that there are almost no distinguishable bits of food in here. You can't see any chunks of carrot left over. All the kale has been processed down very, very finely. It's just itty bitty specks of kale in there. That's going to make a nice, smooth consistency, easy drinkable smoothie. We used the Ninja's blending function for an equivalent amount of time that we did on Vitamix, and it completely failed. This was an extremely gritty smoothie. You can see complete apple skins in here, big bits of kale, large little orange chunks of carrots. If you're wanting to make green smoothies with raw fruits and vegetables and big hearty leafy greens like kale, the Ninja sharp blades just cannot do it. It's gonna make a really gritty smoothie. We did give Ninja another chance with its personal size blender jar. We did have to half the recipe though. The smaller blender jar did a significantly better job than the full-size Ninja jar. Although it did better, it still could not match Vitamix's ultimate pureeing power. Let's look at the build and durability of each of these blenders. For our Vitamix A2500, it's a dead simple interface. We've got our control dial in the middle that has 10 speed settings and 3 presets. We've got a play pause feature here, and then we've got our pulse function right here. It also has a digital countdown timer for your presets or a count up timer to time your blends. The Ninja's interface features a push button design. It has 3 speed settings, a single serve setting for its smaller single blend cup, power button, and a pulse button. During testing, we noticed the buttons weren't as responsive as we'd like. We had to press the buttons multiple times in order for them to work. Both the drive socket and the blade assembly are metal. Metal is going to stand up to those high RPMs that your Vitamix is going to output. The Ninja's drive socket is all plastic, along with the blade assembly on the bottom is also plastic. So you're getting plastic on plastic here. Plastic is not going to last nearly as long as your metal components, so this is going to wear down over time. Vitamix's blade assembly is all metal. The design features 4 blades with tapered edges that are safe to touch. Ninja has a signature tower of blades that is removable from the blender jar. The whole blade assembly is made of plastic, but the blades are made of very sharp metal. The metal is sharp enough to cut you, so don't touch it. Like your knives, these sharp blades will dull over time. With the new Ascent series from Vitamix, all of their jars come equipped with wireless self-detect technology. This allows the jar to talk to the blender base, letting it know the size and type of jar you're putting on it. Doing this can increase the lifespan of your jars since the base will adjust the power and the blending times according to what jar is on it. The jar is designed from a very durable BPA-free material and includes an awesome clip-on lid with a rubber gasket to prevent spills while blending. The Ninja features a plastic jar design with a locking lid. The lid does have to lock on to the blender jar in order to function. The Ninja jar also has a pour spout on the top for pouring out your blends. One of the safety features we did like about the Ninja is that the jars do lock on and they feel a bit more secure on the base versus the competition. Not all your plastics are created equally. Some are a lot stronger than others. A lot of people store their appliances above refrigerators or in tall places, so what we decided to do was a stress test. We put all of our blender jars on the refrigerator and just kind of knocked them off to see if they would survive. Ooh. You can see there's a huge chunk of plastic missing here. It made a nice fracture crack all the way down the blender jar. It looks like nothing. It's completely good. Vitamix survived the fall. If you didn't see by now, looking back through all our tests, Vitamix came out on top on every single one of them, leaving the Ninja in the dust.